Have you ever wondered why, out of all your siblings, out of everyone in your family, you were the one who seemed different, set apart? Why you've always felt a pull towards something deeper, something higher, something beyond what everyone else around you could see or understand? Have you ever asked, "Why me, God?" This isn't just a coincidence. And no, you're not imagining things. This message has reached you at the perfect time. You didn't find it by accident. You were drawn to it, spirit to spirit, because this truth has been waiting to be revealed to you. And when the student is ready, the teacher always appears. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. This is not just another video. This is your spiritual confirmation. You've been asking for a sign. You've been praying for clarity. You've been walking through storms with no answers. And now, God is speaking. This message is an activation. It's going to shift something inside of you. It's going to help you understand what others in your own bloodline may never fully grasp. You see, when God chooses someone, he doesn't pick based on appearance, position, or popularity. He picks based on purpose. And when he looked at your family, he saw you. He saw the one who would carry the spiritual weight, the one who could survive the rejection, the one who could see when others were blind, the one who could feel what others numbed themselves to. He chose the one who could rise, even when crushed. You may have grown up in the same house, ate at the same table, wore hand-me-downs like your brothers and sisters, but your spirit was never wired the same. While others chased approval, you sought meaning. While others laughed, you were quiet. While others slept, you dreamed. While others fought over the surface, you wrestled with the unseen. You didn't know it then, but all of that was training. Training for the assignment God had in store for you. Chosen one, I need you to lean in right now. This message is vital to your journey. This message is a lifeline to your identity. The enemy tried to make you forget who you are. Life tried to wear you down. Family might have made you question yourself, but God never forgot you. In fact, he preserved you because of the calling on your life. You're not watching this by mistake. You're not early, you're not late, you're right on time. You're stepping into the season where your spiritual sight will sharpen, where your voice will gain authority, where your steps will be guided. This is your confirmation, this is your clarity, this is your awakening. I want you to take a moment and breathe that in. Really sit with it. You are not like the rest. And that's not a curse. That's your crown. If this is already speaking to your spirit, don't hesitate. Go down to the comments and type 777 if you feel the presence of divine confirmation. Or 444 if you've ever felt like the black sheep in your family, but deep down knew it was because you were different by design. Let your tribe find you. You are not alone. And before we go deeper, I want you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Tap the bell so you don't miss a message meant for you. Share this with another soul who needs this truth. You never know. You could be the one planting the seed for their spiritual breakthrough. All right, now let's go deeper into the mystery. You've been called, but now it's time to understand why. By the way, if what we're exploring resonates deeply with you, I've prepared something special, a guide that dives even deeper into your journey. It's called The Chosen One's Awakening Blueprint, and it outlines the sacred stages of spiritual awakening you might be experiencing right now. You'll find clarity, reassurance, and powerful insights that could change how you navigate this journey. I've included the link below for you. Feel free to check it out after the video. So, who exactly are the chosen ones? You've heard that phrase before. Maybe you've even felt something stir in your spirit when you heard it. But let's go deeper now. Let's clear the fog, break the confusion, and speak plainly. Because if you're watching this right now, it's very likely you are one of them. The chosen ones are not perfect. They're not always the most educated, the most attractive, or the most accomplished by the world's standards. But what they do have, what sets them apart, is a divine appointment that can't be replicated and a spiritual connection that can't be explained. God selects them long before they even know his name. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, before your first breath, you were set apart. You were marked for a purpose beyond the ordinary. Chosen ones are born into families that often don't understand them. You were surrounded by people who couldn't quite grasp your sensitivity, your depth, your awareness. You might have been labeled too emotional, too quiet, or even too intense. But what they saw as weakness was actually the first sign of your spiritual radar. You were picking up on things others were blind to. You were hearing and feeling and sensing things that were invisible to everyone else. Why? Because your spiritual frequency was tuned differently. The chosen ones are the dreamers, the black sheep, the ones who always felt a little out of place, even among their own blood. You asked deeper questions when everyone else was satisfied with surface answers. You searched for God in the silence when everyone else looked for noise. You weren't just trying to survive. You were always trying to understand. That's because your soul knew it had a mission here. Your spirit came into this world carrying instructions. Most chosen ones go through some form of early suffering. That's no accident. It's part of the preparation. You may have faced childhood trauma, rejection, abandonment, betrayal, often at the hands of the very people you were trying to love. But what looked like destruction was actually construction. The fire was building you. It was teaching you resilience, discernment, spiritual stamina. You were being fortified for the road ahead. Chosen ones are often misunderstood. Even your own family may have turned against you, belittled your dreams, mocked your spiritual insights, or treated you like you didn't belong. And still, something inside you refused to quit. You couldn't conform no matter how hard you tried. You couldn't be like everyone else, even if you wanted to. That's not rebellion. That's resistance to dilution. Your spirit wouldn't allow itself to be molded into something it wasn't created to be. You see, the chosen are not only selected, they are protected. That's why some things didn't kill you. That's why certain mistakes didn't define you. That's why, even when you fell, something or someone always pulled you back. Divine intervention has been following you your entire life, even when you couldn't see it, even when you were in the dark, even when you didn't believe in yourself. And here's something powerful. Chosen ones carry light. Not ordinary light, but spiritual illumination. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift. People either gravitate towards you or become uneasy around you. That's not ego, that's energy. Your aura carries truth, and truth agitates lies. Your presence confronts hidden darkness. That's why some people can't stand you without reason. It's not personal, it's spiritual. You've always had a deep inner knowing. Something in you always knew that there was more to life than what you were taught. You've had visions, dreams, synchronicities, repeating numbers, messages from spirit. You've looked around and thought, why can I see this and no one else can? That's because you've been tuned in. You've been spiritually awake in a world full of sleepwalkers. And yet, being chosen doesn't come with comfort. It comes with a calling. And callings require discipline. You will be stretched. You will be refined. You will be tested. And not everyone around you will celebrate it. Because once you start walking in your divine identity, others will feel convicted just by your existence. But don't shrink. Don't apologize. Don't hide your light just to make others feel comfortable in their shadows. Chosen ones are leaders, healers, intercessors, truth-tellers, and visionaries. Some are sent to build. Some are sent to destroy what no longer serves. Some are sent to awaken others. But all are sent for something. You're not here just to take up space. You're here to shift it. And the moment you start owning that, everything around you will begin to align. Being chosen doesn't mean you'll have it easy, but it means you'll have grace for the journey. It means even when others fall under the weight, you'll rise. It means doors will open for you that should have stayed shut. It means you'll have wisdom that no degree can teach. It means your prayers will move things in the unseen. It means God will use your life to reveal His glory. You didn't come here to be normal. You didn't come here to be liked. You came here to wake the sleeping, to love the broken, to challenge the blind, to heal what's been ignored for generations. And yes, Sometimes that means being the only one in your family, in your community, in your circle, who sees. But that's the price of vision. That's the cost of being chosen. So if you've been feeling like the outcast, the misunderstood, the spiritually sensitive one in your family, don't you dare doubt yourself. That's not a flaw, that's evidence. You're not broken, you're blessed. And now you're being reminded of who you really are. You are a chosen one. Not by chance, not by mistake, but by divine appointment. And your time is now. Let's talk about something most people never dare to touch: spiritual rank within the family. Because here's the truth. Just because someone was born before you, just because someone holds a certain title in the family, doesn't mean they were chosen to carry the spiritual mantle. God does not anoint based on age, bloodline traditions, or birth order. He anoints based on purpose, obedience, and spiritual readiness. You may be the youngest child, the quiet one, or the one who was constantly overlooked. But in the eyes of God, you might be the first in spiritual rank. Why? Because you carry the vision. You carry the burden. You carry the voice. While others in your family are still caught up in worldly matters, you've been walking with a divine awareness since you were a child. And that didn't happen by accident. Family dynamics can be complex. There's love, competition, favoritism, unspoken wounds, and expectations. But in the spiritual realm, none of that determines your calling. What determines it is your heart, your obedience, your willingness to go where others refuse to go, to carry what others refuse to carry. That's what sets the chosen one apart. Some of you were born into families where you were instantly misunderstood. Your siblings may have been closer to your parents. They might have been praised more, loved more, protected more. And you were thrown into the fire, the one who had to grow up faster, the one who carried pain in silence, the one who had to learn how to fight in the spirit before you even knew how to tie your shoes. And still, here you are, stronger, wiser, more spiritually awake. Why? Because God doesn't put his oil on the surface, he puts it on the soul. You might not have the family's approval, but you have heaven's attention. And that outweighs everything. In many families, the chosen one is the one who gets left out of family plans, the one who isn't included in the gossip or the celebrations, the one who they say is too deep or too distant. They don't realize that your distance isn't arrogance, it's protection. You've been called to a higher place. And when God elevates you, not everyone can follow. Let's break a lie that religion and culture have sold to people, that the firstborn is always the leader, not spiritually. Look at the scriptures. David wasn't the oldest. He was the youngest, forgotten in the fields. But God anointed him king while his older brothers stood by, confused. Joseph wasn't the oldest, yet he was given dreams and favor that his brothers couldn't handle. The pattern is clear. God chooses who he wants, not who others expect. And when you're the chosen one in your family, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, you're not just another sibling. You're the spiritual gatekeeper. You're the one who sees the cycles, the curses, the patterns. You're the one who feels the need to break generational strongholds. You're the one who questions the silence, the secrets, the shadows that have kept your family bound. That's not rebellion. That's revelation. Being the spiritual leader of your family doesn't always feel good. It's heavy. It's isolating. You can't vent like everyone else. You can't behave recklessly. You can't ignore the pull in your spirit to pray, to fast, to intercede. Because deep down, you know the protection on your household is connected to your obedience. That's weight. That's rank. And while your siblings may be living as they please, something in you knows you can't afford to. You've seen too much. You've felt too much. You've been called to carry too much. It's not pride. It's not ego. It's spiritual assignment. When God places you in spiritual authority within your bloodline, he equips you with discernment that others don't have. That's why you've always noticed things before they happened. That's why you can walk into a room and feel the tension others ignore. That's why you dream about family members in trouble, and then it comes true. That's why people come to you when they're in crisis, but rarely check on you when you're breaking inside. You are the vessel. And yet, with that rank comes a responsibility to remain humble. Just because you were chosen doesn't mean you lord over others. It means you love deeper, serve stronger, and lead quietly. Spiritual rank is never for control, it's for intercession. You weren't picked to look down. You were picked to lift up. You were picked to cover them in prayer, to break cycles through obedience, to build a bridge where there were only broken pieces. And yes, it will hurt sometimes. It will hurt when your siblings mock your path, when they roll their eyes at your spiritual walk, when they accuse you of thinking you're better. But you are not better. You are just burdened with vision, purpose, and the assignment of elevation. And because of that, you must walk with compassion. God often selects the most broken vessel to pour his glory through. Why? Because brokenness breeds humility, and humility makes room for divine power. So if you were the one who went through the most pain, it may be because God knew he could trust you to turn that pain into purpose, not pride. This journey isn't about comparison. It's about clarity. Once you understand your position, you stop expecting validation from those who can't even recognize the oil on your life. You stop arguing with family members about who's right. You stop needing to prove yourself. You understand that your walk is your witness. So walk with authority, chosen one. Walk knowing that your obedience is setting a new order. Walk knowing that even if they don't understand now, they will one day. And if they never do, that's all right too, because God didn't choose you for them to understand. He chose you because he knew you'd listen. And that, my dear soul, is spiritual rank. There are moments in life when you just know, even without proof, without validation, without applause, you know something is different about you. Not in a way that makes you better, but in a way that makes you burdened, in a way that sets you apart. If you've ever felt that weight, that invisible responsibility you couldn't explain, it might be because God chose you over your siblings for a divine assignment. Let's talk about the signs. Not the signs people want to see with their physical eyes, but the ones your soul recognizes immediately, the ones that show up in your life in quiet moments and chaotic seasons. The first sign is that you were attacked early. From a young age, you were thrown into situations that you didn't deserve and didn't ask for. Abuse, rejection, instability, loneliness. It came knocking at your door far before you had the strength to even understand what it meant. While your siblings may have had a more peaceful experience, your path felt like war from the beginning. But here's the truth. The enemy always attacks what threatens him the most. He saw what you were carrying even before you did. Another sign is that you felt deeply different, even when no one said it out loud. You questioned things your siblings didn't think twice about. You sensed truth and falsehood in people with no evidence. You could read the energy in a room without a word being spoken. You were labeled too sensitive or too much, but you weren't wrong. You were just tuned in. That wasn't emotional fragility. That was spiritual discernment, and not everyone is born with that. You've probably also experienced being the one who gets left out, not always intentionally. Sometimes it's just how the spiritual divide plays out. Family gatherings, conversations, relationships, you found yourself observing more than participating. Your siblings may bond with each other in ways you can't, and that's not because you're unlovable. It's because your spirit doesn't fit into the mold they're used to. You operate on a different frequency, not better, just higher. You see the unseen, and that makes people uncomfortable. Another powerful sign is the level of responsibility placed on you, spoken or unspoken. You're the one people come to when chaos erupts. You're the one expected to hold things together when everything falls apart. You're the one who carries the emotional and spiritual weight of the family. Not because you asked for it, but because your presence brings clarity and calm. You've been the mediator, the peacemaker, the fixer, and sometimes even the protector. That's not a coincidence. That's leadership. That's God's hand at work. Let's not forget your dreams and visions. Many chosen ones report having vivid dreams, prophetic insight, or strange synchronicities that others around them never experience. You might have seen things in dreams before they happened. You might have felt spiritual warnings in your gut long before any signs appeared. That's not fantasy. That's God speaking to you in the language of the Spirit. And often, He does not reveal those things to everyone in the family, only the one He has appointed. Have you ever noticed how you bounce back faster than your siblings when adversity hits? Not because you're stronger by nature, but because God's grace covers you in the fire. You've been through storms that should have buried you, but somehow you came out wiser, not weaker. That's not luck. That's divine protection. That's favor. And favor doesn't mean life gets easier. It means God walks with you in the hardest parts. Another often overlooked sign is your inner conflict. You've struggled with guilt, questioning why you feel so disconnected from your family at times. You've asked, why can't I just be normal like them? You felt torn between honoring your bloodline and honoring your spirit. That tension is not confusion, it's calling. It's the mark of someone who's been set apart. You weren't made to blend in, you were made to break the pattern. Let's speak truth here. Sometimes your siblings won't understand you. They might envy you, they might resent you. They might even distance themselves from you because your spiritual presence exposes what they don't want to confront. You don't even have to say a word. Your light shines, and light makes darkness uncomfortable. Don't take it personally. It's not about who likes you. It's about who God has chosen to carry the mantle. That's you. And if you're still unsure, think about the way life has prepared you. Look back on your journey. You've been given the oil of endurance. You've grown from pain that others would have collapsed under. You've been humbled in silence, elevated in secret, and trained in the shadows. You've had to learn patience, restraint, wisdom, and trust, skills that come from divine shaping, not human schooling. Now pause. If this is resonating in your spirit, if you're feeling like this is confirming something you've always felt but never had words for, I want you to go to the comments right now and type 999. That number is a sign of spiritual completion and awakening. It's a signal that you are stepping into your role as the chosen one, no longer questioning what God has already confirmed. Being chosen over your siblings doesn't mean God loves you more. It means He trusted you with more warfare, more insight, more responsibility, more light. You've been selected to walk a path that they may never understand, and that's okay. Your job is not to explain. Your job is to walk, to obey, to carry out the assignment with love and grace. And remember this, what looks like distance now might become deliverance later. Your siblings may not see your worth today, but one day they may look to you for guidance, for prayer, for wisdom. And when they do, don't hold back. That's the final sign, that your heart still loves, still forgives, still wants to see them free. That's how you know you're walking in your calling. So stand firm. You're not imagining things. You're not arrogant. You're anointed, and the signs have always been there. Now it's time to walk in them with boldness. Now that you've begun to understand that you were chosen, the next question is the one that lingers deep in your spirit. Why? Why did God choose you specifically over your siblings? Why not them? Why were you given the spiritual insight, the heavy burdens, the unexplainable call on your life? The answer isn't as complicated as it may seem. God chose you because He knew you would listen. He chose you because He saw what no one else could see. He looked beyond the outer image, beyond your mistakes, beyond your broken moments, and He saw your heart. He saw the one who, when it was time, would say yes. The one who, even through pain, would still choose purpose. That's why you were chosen. God is intentional. He doesn't do random. He doesn't just assign callings to people by accident. Everything He does is connected to purpose, and that purpose always reaches beyond just you. He's a generational God. So when He picked you, He didn't just pick you for your own healing. He picked you for your bloodline's transformation. You weren't chosen to be elevated. You were chosen to be the breaker, the one who would end generational curses, dismantle toxic cycles, and usher in a new spiritual order within your family. Look around at your family. You probably see patterns, cycles of poverty, addiction, divorce, emotional suppression, trauma passed down like heirlooms. And in the middle of all that, God placed you, the one who questions things, the one who heals instead of hides, the one who walks away instead of repeating. That's not rebellion. That's divine interruption. You weren't born to keep the cycle going. You were born to end it. That's the deeper purpose. You were chosen to carry what others dropped, to face what others ran from, to uncover what others buried. And not because you're stronger by human standards, but because your spirit is more surrendered. God isn't looking for the most gifted. He's looking for the most willing. And your spirit, even before you fully understood it, was willing to say, "Use me." The deeper purpose is that God needed someone who could endure isolation and still choose obedience, someone who could go through the fire and come out refined, not bitter, someone who could carry both pain and purpose without letting one cancel out the other. And he saw that in you. That's why you had to go through so much so early. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You were the one he could trust with the assignment. Trust to stand alone if necessary. Trust to intercede when no one else prays. Trust to love when others choose silence. Trust to see with spiritual eyes what others ignore. That kind of purpose requires pain, but it also releases power. Spiritual authority is forged in suffering, and the chosen ones always pay a price for their insight. Have you ever noticed that your victories don't just feel personal, they feel generational? That when you win, it feels like something shifted in your entire family line? That's because your life is not just about you. Your obedience is making a way for those who came before you and those who will come after. God has tied your purpose to legacy. You were picked to shift everything. And here's what most don't realize. Purpose will isolate you. The calling will separate you. Not because you're better, but because you're different by design. You can't do what everyone else does. You can't go where everyone else goes. You can't live how they live, think how they think, or move how they move. And that can be frustrating at times, because a part of you still wants to belong, still wants connection, still wants the warmth of shared understanding. But the deeper your purpose, the smaller your circle. That's why your siblings may never see what you see. They may never understand your journey. They may judge it, resent it, or even oppose it. But that doesn't change the assignment. You weren't chosen to be understood. You were chosen to intercede, to be the one who changes the ending of the story for your entire bloodline. You see, purpose is not about elevation. It's about execution. It's about completing what God placed you here to do. And often that includes being the first to heal, the first to forgive, the first to walk away from toxicity, the first to seek therapy, to pray with authority, to stop pretending everything is fine when it's not. Being first is never easy, but it's always necessary. God picks the ones who are strong enough to break through and gentle enough to rebuild. And here's the part that stirs your spirit if you really let it sink in. God chose you because you were the answer to someone else's prayer. Someone in your lineage prayed for deliverance. Maybe your grandmother, maybe a great-grandfather. Someone cried out to God for freedom, for healing, for change, and instead of sending a lightning bolt from the sky, God sent you. You are the response. You are the fulfillment of a cry they may have whispered generations ago. That's how deep your purpose runs. So when you ask why you were chosen, remember this, because God trusted you to carry him into places where others carried trauma, ego, and fear. He trusted you to walk with vision, to speak with authority, and to move with grace. He trusted you to restore what was broken and to plant seeds where nothing ever grew. That's not a small task. That's kingdom-level responsibility. And the best part? God never calls you without equipping you. Everything you need is already within you. The gifts, the discernment, the wisdom, it's all been hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to be awakened. And that time, chosen one, is now. You've been wondering, but now you understand. You weren't chosen just to be different. You were chosen to make a difference, to bring light to the dark corners of your family story, to be the living proof that healing is real, that curses can be broken, and that purpose always wins over pain. That's why you were chosen. And now that you know, there's no turning back, only forward, only deeper, only higher. Your assignment is active, heaven is watching, and your legacy is about to unfold. Being chosen is a divine honor, but let's not pretend it's easy. Most people celebrate the calling, but they don't talk about the cost. They see the light on you, but they don't know about the weight you carry in silence. They admire your strength, but they can't fathom the warfare behind your wisdom. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the side of being chosen that no one prepares you for. The truth is, being chosen will cost you everything. It will cost you relationships. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you your sense of belonging. And for many of you, it has already cost you your connection with your siblings. Not because you don't love them, but because your path pulled you in a direction they never wanted to go. When God places a mantle on your life, isolation becomes your teacher. Suddenly you're misunderstood, not just by strangers, but by the people who share your blood. They don't get you. They don't understand your convictions, your boundaries, your sensitivity, your spiritual hunger. And they're not supposed to, because the assignment wasn't given to them. It was given to you. That kind of separation stings. You grew up with your siblings. You shared secrets, laughter, maybe even a bedroom. But now, there's a spiritual distance that words can't explain. You might try to bridge the gap. You might try to explain yourself. But often, you'll find that no matter how much you love them, you're just not on the same path anymore. And that's part of the cost. Being chosen will expose everything fake around you. It forces you to confront the truth, even when it hurts. It reveals motives, uncovers hidden wounds, and brings to light what others would rather keep buried. That's why people start pulling away from you. That's why some family members avoid deep conversations with you. Your very presence calls them to a level they may not be ready for. And while you're going through this spiritual shift, there's no applause. No one throws you a party for saying no to generational curses. No one celebrates you for refusing to continue dysfunction. In fact, you may be blamed for breaking tradition. You may be accused of being cold, rebellious, or prideful, when all you're doing is following divine instruction. That's the cost. Obedience often looks like rebellion to those still serving old systems. It's lonely. Let's be honest. Being chosen means you often have to walk alone. You may cry alone, pray alone, suffer alone. You may wake up at 3 a.m. with a burden on your spirit and no one to talk to. And that's not because you're abandoned. That's because you're in training. God isolates before he elevates. He removes the noise so you can hear his voice. He strips the crowd so you can build confidence in the quiet. And during this pruning, you'll question everything. You'll ask, why me? You'll wonder if it would have been easier to just live like everyone else, to stay silent, blend in, follow the crowd. But deep down, you know you couldn't. You never could. Even when you tried, your spirit resisted, because you were marked from the beginning. And here's something few will tell you. There's grief in growth. When you start rising spiritually, you begin mourning the version of yourself that used to fit in. You miss the comfort of connection, even if it was built on dysfunction. You miss being one of them. You miss the laughter, the memories, the simplicity, but you can't go back. Because once you've been awakened, pretending to sleep becomes unbearable. Some of the deepest pain comes from being rejected by the very people you were trying to help. Your siblings may laugh at your convictions, your family may question your choices, and the enemy will whisper, "See, you're all alone." But don't believe it. You are not alone. You are simply ahead. And being ahead always feels lonely until others catch up. There's also a cost to your peace. When you carry the spiritual responsibility of your family, it's hard to rest. You feel things others ignore. You sense spiritual warfare before it even manifests. You grieve when others celebrate because you see the undercurrent of brokenness they're trying to hide. Your heart stays open even when it hurts, and yet you keep going. That's the cost of carrying light in a world built on shadows, and still you love. That's the beauty of the chosen ones. Even when misunderstood, rejected, excluded, you still love. You still intercede. You still show up. You still believe in redemption. That kind of love doesn't come cheap. It's forged through suffering. It's shaped in the fire. And it's the kind of love that shifts legacies. People admire the calling, but very few have the strength to handle the cost, the sleepless nights, the spiritual warfare, the inner battles, the weight of knowing, the ache of separation, the burden of insight. But God saw something in you. He knew you wouldn't run from the fire. He knew you wouldn't give up when the road got rough. He knew you would endure. You were built for this. That's why the pressure didn't break you. That's why the silence didn't kill you. That's why even when your siblings turned their backs, you stayed faithful. Because your strength is not natural. It's divine. It's not based on your willpower. It's built on God's presence. And yes, the cost is high, but so is the reward. There is a peace that comes with walking in purpose, a confidence that can't be shaken, a clarity that no man can give and no storm can steal. And when the time comes, the same family that questioned you may one day need your wisdom, your prayers, your insight. They may not say it out loud, but they will recognize the light. They'll remember who stood firm when everything else was shaking. So if you're in the middle of the cost right now, feeling the weight, the loneliness, the rejection, I want to remind you, you are not crazy. You are called. You are not weak. You are wired differently. This season is shaping you, not shaming you. The cost is great, chosen one, but the assignment is greater. Keep going. Heaven is backing you, and your legacy will reflect the price you paid in silence. After everything you've walked through, the isolation, the misunderstanding, the pain, the rejection, it's only right that you understand this. There is a reward, and not just any reward. A spiritual inheritance designed specifically for the chosen ones. You didn't suffer for nothing. You didn't carry this weight just to collapse under it. There's something waiting for you that your spirit has felt all along, even when your mind couldn't explain it. You see, God is a just God. He doesn't just assign, He restores. He doesn't just call you, He crowns you. Every sleepless night, every tear, every moment of silence when you could have defended yourself but didn't, none of it went unnoticed. Heaven saw it all. And now you're stepping into a season of spiritual inheritance, not as a reward for perfection, but as a result of obedience. The first part of your inheritance is peace, and I don't mean surface-level peace. I'm talking about the kind of peace that doesn't make sense to the world, peace that rests in your chest even when chaos surrounds you, peace that no longer needs everyone to like you, understand you, or agree with you. It's the kind of peace that can only come from finally being aligned with your divine identity. Then there's clarity. Chosen ones are often given the gift of spiritual sight. As you mature in your walk, you'll begin to see people and situations for what they truly are. You won't be easily deceived anymore. The fog lifts, the confusion clears. You'll start to walk in rooms and know things without a word being spoken. This is part of your spiritual inheritance, discernment, and it's more valuable than silver or gold. You'll also begin to notice favor. Divine doors will start opening that no man can shut. Opportunities will come that you didn't chase. Resources will flow to you in unexpected ways, not because you're chasing blessings, but because blessings chase obedience. And when you're in alignment with your assignment, provision becomes natural. What you used to struggle for now comes with ease. Another part of your inheritance is spiritual authority. You'll begin to speak, and people will listen, not because you demand it, but because heaven backs your voice. When you pray, things will move. When you declare, things will shift. You've earned that through fire, through walking with God when no one else did, through saying yes when it cost you everything. Authority isn't given, it's forged, and you've been forged. And there's more. Your inheritance includes legacy. The seeds you're planting now are going to grow into blessings your children and your children's children will walk in. You are not just changing your life, you're changing your bloodline. You're the interruption, the reformer, the shift. What didn't start with you is going to end with you, and what never began before you is going to begin through you. That's generational impact, the very things your siblings didn't understand in you. One day they may honor, and even if they never do, you'll see the fruit of your faithfulness in how God raises you up. And here's what's beautiful. When you rise, you won't rise with arrogance. You'll rise with compassion, because everything you've been through humbled you, taught you to love even when it hurts, taught you to serve from the scars. Your reward isn't just what you gain, it's who you become. You'll wake up and realize that the fear is gone, the confusion is gone, the craving for validation is gone, and what's left is clarity, confidence, peace, and purpose. That is spiritual wealth. You're walking into a season where everything is going to make sense. The tears, the silence, the long nights, the spiritual warfare, the family distance. All of it will click. And when it does, you'll know why you had to walk alone for so long. You'll see that the isolation was actually preservation. God was hiding you while he was building you, so don't lose heart. You've paid the price. And now the reward is coming. Slowly, steadily, silently. But it's coming. In your spirit, in your home, in your influence, and in your legacy. You are about to inherit what no one in your family even believed was possible. And it all started because you said yes. Now that you know why you were chosen, now that you've seen the cost and the reward, the question becomes, what do I do next? What does a chosen one do after the awakening, after the confirmation, after the realization that their entire life has been divinely guided and spiritually protected? You don't just go back to life as usual, not after this, not after the veil has been lifted. You move forward with intention. Your first divine instruction is to stay close to God. I mean truly close, not just on Sundays, not just when life gets hard, but daily, personally, and deeply. This isn't a religious command, it's a lifeline. You cannot carry this calling on your own strength. You will burn out, you will grow bitter, but when you walk with the one who called you, your strength is renewed daily, your clarity stays sharp, your peace remains intact. Next, you must protect your spiritual energy. Not everyone can go with you. Not everyone deserves access to your spirit. You've spent too long watering people who had no intention of growing. You are no longer available for energy thieves, emotional manipulators, or conversations that pull you out of alignment. This is your time to guard your heart, your mind, and your space. You also need to stop arguing about your calling. You don't need to explain why you're different. You don't need to convince your siblings or your family to understand what God is doing in your life. Let your walk speak. Let your fruit speak. If they can't see the oil on your life, that's not your problem to fix. Don't lower your voice to be understood by those who refuse to hear. Another instruction, forgive but don't carry. Yes, your family may have hurt you. Yes, your siblings may have mocked or rejected you, but your job is not to carry their wounds into your next season. Let it go. That doesn't mean you have to be close again, but it does mean you free yourself from bitterness. You cannot walk in divine favor while dragging chains of resentment behind you. Forgive them, not for them, but for you. God is calling you to walk with boldness now. This isn't the time to play small. You've been prepared, positioned, and preserved for a reason. Speak when he tells you to speak. Move when he tells you to move. Rest when he tells you to rest. Your obedience is more powerful than any title, platform, or approval you could chase. And finally, remember this. You're not here to fit in. You're here to lead the shift. The world is groaning for real light, not performative spirituality, not empty religion, but truth. And God placed that truth inside you. So go live it, with courage, with humility, with fire. Your divine instructions aren't complicated. They're clear. Stay close to God, protect your energy, stop explaining your calling, walk in forgiveness, and move boldly. You've been chosen. Now, it's time to move like it. Chosen one, now that the truth has reached you, now that your spirit has been reminded of who you are, there's only one thing left to do. Walk in your calling. No more doubting, no more shrinking, no more waiting for permission. You already have heaven's approval. You already carry the assignment. You already survived what was meant to break you. That means the time is now, not next year, not when they believe in you, not when it feels safe. Now everything you've been through was preparing you for this moment. The tears, the warfare, the silence, the spiritual sensitivity that made you question your sanity at times. It was never random. It was never punishment. It was divine training. And now, the mantle is resting on your shoulders. You can't afford to walk like you're unaware of what you carry anymore. Walk like someone who has been chosen by God Himself. Walk with the clarity that your steps are ordered. Walk with the confidence that even when you feel alone, all of heaven is backing you. You are not ordinary. You are not common. You were set apart from the beginning, not to be perfect, but to be obedient. The truth is, some people in your life will never understand your calling. That includes family, that includes siblings, that includes friends who once felt close, but now seem distant. Don't chase their approval. Don't try to drag them with you. This path requires focus. Your obedience is not just about you, it's about generations, about shifting the atmosphere wherever you go, about healing what's been ignored for decades. And hear me clearly, walking in your calling does not mean waiting until you feel ready. Readiness is a myth when it comes to spiritual assignments. You step out in faith. You speak even when your voice shakes. You lead even when you feel inadequate. Because it's not about your strength. It's about God's power working through you. That's what makes you dangerous to darkness. You are here to break chains, to raise the standard, to be the one who didn't quit, the one who didn't bow to pressure, the one who said yes to the call and never looked back. And as you walk, doors will open. People will be drawn to the light in you. Lives will change, not because of how loud you are, but because of how real you are. So let this be your confirmation, your moment of clarity, your divine reminder that everything you need is already inside of you. Don't waste it. Don't second-guess it. Don't delay it. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you, fully awakened, fully aligned, fully walking in who you were called to be. Not tomorrow. Now, if this message stirred something in your spirit, share it. Someone else out there is still searching for the truth that just set you free. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, and become part of this movement. This is your spiritual family. This is where chosen ones rise. You've been chosen. Now rise and walk like it.